The archives crackled with ancient energy, holographic records flickering like dying memories of a civilization long forgotten. Dust-laden data crystals hung in precise rows within the Galactic Historical Preservation Chamber, each one a tomb of lost knowledge. Here, in the heart of the Confederation's most secure research facility, the history of extinct species was carefully curated and meticulously maintained. Dr. Zarak's six-fingered hand trembled slightly as she activated another human data crystal. Her exoskeleton shifted with a soft, metallic whisper, multifaceted eyes focusing on the flickering images. Most of her colleagues considered her work borderline obsessive. Some even whispered about her potential mental instability. A xenohistorian spending decades researching a species supposedly wiped from existence was not a path to academic acclaim. But Zarak knew something didn't add up. The official records told a clean, brutal story. 217 years ago, the Galactic Concordance had conducted what they called the Necessary Extinction, a systematic campaign to eliminate humanity. Star systems were sterilized. Colonies were reduced to radioactive dust. Every known human settlement was methodically destroyed, leaving nothing but scattered debris and painful memories. Yet something about the records felt manufactured. Small inconsistencies nagged at her. Incomplete destruction logs, fragmentary communication records with unexplained gaps, radiation signatures that didn't quite match total planetary annihilation. Each anomaly was tiny, easily dismissed by her peers. But to Zarak, they were breadcrumbs leading to a larger mystery. Her current research focused on the final human stronghold, a system called Omega Prime. Historical records indicated a massive battle where the last human resistance was crushed. But Zarak had discovered something peculiar. The final transmission from that system was not a surrender, but something else entirely. Preservation protocol initiated. The message had read, nothing more. Most researchers interpreted this as a final, desperate attempt at data archiving. But Zarak saw it differently. The transmission's energy signature was unique, unlike any known communication technology of the time. It suggested something more sophisticated, more deliberate. In her private laboratory, hidden from the prying eyes of the academic council, she maintained a wall of evidence. Star charts with unexplained quantum fluctuations, scattered sensor readings from the outer rim, fragments of technology that defied current understanding. Each piece was another thread in a tapestry she was slowly weaving. Her latest funding request had been denied. Again, the academic council saw her work as nothing more than an academic fantasy, a waste of resources better spent on confirmed historical research. They didn't understand, couldn't understand, that absence of evidence was not evidence of absence. Humans were different. Every scrap of historical record suggested a species unlike any other in galactic history. Adaptable, innovative, ruthlessly persistent, a civilization that had gone from primitive rocket technology to quantum manipulation in less than 3 centuries, a species that had fought against multiple galactic powers simultaneously and nearly won. They were not a species that would simply disappear. As the last data crystal flickered and died, Zarak allowed herself a moment of quiet determination. Something was coming. Something had been waiting, and she would be ready when it arrived. Quantum frost crystallized along the carbon fiber hull, a delicate lattice of preservation that defied conventional understanding of biological stasis. The Defiance was more than a ship. It was a testament to humanity's final, most desperate technological achievement. Every system, every molecule was a calculated defense against time itself. Deep within the vessel's core, Marcus Alexander's body lay suspended in a crystalline preservation chamber. His genetic structure was a masterpiece of engineering, each strand of DNA carefully modified to withstand centuries of dormancy. Microscopic nanobots, dormant but not dead, waited like microscopic guardians. Araya, the adaptive regenerative intelligence algorithm, was not a simple artificial intelligence. She was the culmination of humanity's most advanced cognitive engineering, a sentient system that had maintained the ship's integrity for over 3 centuries. Her processing capabilities far exceeded any known computational system in the galaxy, with quantum neural networks that could simulate entire civilizations in milliseconds. The revival sequence began with a subtle vibration. Molecular-level repair mechanisms activated, their quantum-entangled processes working in perfect synchronization. Marcus's cellular structure wasn't just being preserved, it was being actively maintained, repaired, and enhanced. First came the neural reconnection. Synaptic pathways that had been frozen for centuries began to re-establish their complex network. Memories flickered like distant stars, fragments of a world long gone. The last war. The final decision to preserve rather than surrender. The hope that someday humanity would return. His augmentations were nothing like the crude cybernetic enhancements of other species. Developed in the crucible of humanity's most desperate hours, these were organic synthetic hybrid systems that blurred the line between biology and technology. Nano-reinforced bones, adaptive immune systems that could neutralize virtually any biological or technological threat. Neural interfaces that could process information at speeds that would burn out a standard organic brain. Aria's voice was the first sound Marcus heard. Not a mechanical drone, but a carefully modulated tone that carried centuries of accumulated knowledge. Revival sequence at 67.3% completion, she reported. Detecting optimal star system for initial emergence. Threat assessment. Minimal risk. Maximum strategic advantage. Marcus's eyes remained closed, but his brain was already processing vast amounts of information. Centuries of collected data streamed through his neural network. Historical records, technological developments, astronomical surveys. The galaxy had changed, but Aria had been watching, learning, preparing. A single tear formed in the corner of his eye, not from emotion, but from the microscopic tear ducts being rehydrated after centuries of dormancy. It was a perfect metaphor for humanity itself. Dormant, but not dead. Waiting, not defeated. The preservation chamber began to dissolve, its quantum-locked molecules breaking down with precision. Marcus's body was not simply waking up, it was being reborn. Enhanced. Prepared. The last weapon of a species that refused to be erased. Status report. He finally spoke. His voice was neither weak nor strong. It was a calibrated instrument, perfectly modulated. Aria's response was instantaneous. Mission parameters remain unchanged. Humanity's survival is priority 1. Current galactic political structure suggests optimal intervention window is approaching. Marcus's hand moved, almost imperceptibly. A neural command that would have been impossible for any other living being. Star charts began to materialize in the air around him. Centuries of collected intelligence painting a picture of a galaxy that had forgotten its most dangerous children. We're not just going to survive, Marcus said, a hint of something between a smile and a threat crossing his features. We're going to remind them why they were afraid of us in the first place. The defiance hummed to life, quantum drives spinning up with an energy that seemed to whisper of vengeance, of hope, of a species that was about to make its dramatic return. The quantum-fold space tear appeared without warning, a microscopic rupture in the fabric of reality that would have gone unnoticed by lesser sensor arrays. But this was the border of the Krillian Empire, a region defended by the most advanced detection systems in the known galaxy. Sensor coordinator Vexna's tentacles froze mid-motion. The holographic display before her erupted with impossible readings. Something was emerging, something that defied every known pattern of spaceflight. The energy signature was unlike anything in the galactic archives, a complex weave of quantum and electromagnetic frequencies that seemed to dance between existence and non-existence. Impossible, she whispered, her translator implant converting the alien sounds into standard galactic communication. The Defiance materialized like a ghost, its hull absorbing and refracting light in ways that challenged fundamental understanding of electromagnetic interaction. It wasn't just a ship, it was a technological marvel that seemed to exist partially outside the known laws of physics. Defensive platforms across 3 star systems came to immediate alert. Quantum targeting systems locked on, ready to obliterate any potential threat. But something was different. The incoming vessel wasn't broadcasting any standard identification signals. It wasn't following any known approach protocols. It was simply there. In the research station orbiting the tertiary defense perimeter, Dr. Zarok's entire body went rigid. The sensor readings matched fragments of research she had spent decades collecting, impossible fragments that her colleagues had dismissed as academic fantasy. Human technology. But not just human technology from their known era. This was something else entirely. Quantum stabilization complete. Araya's voice echoed through the Defiance's bridge. Threat assessment. Multiple targeting systems active. Probability of hostile response. 98.7%. Marcus Alexander didn't move. Didn't speak. His neural interface was already doing something far more sophisticated than any traditional communication or defense mechanism. The first wave of Krillian interceptors approached, their sleek obsidian hulls cutting through space with practiced precision. Each fighter was a marvel of modern technology, quantum-encrypted communication systems, adaptive energy shielding, weapons that could punch through continental shields. They were about to discover how primitive they truly were. Araya's quantum adaptive targeting system wasn't just predicting potential attack vectors. It was simultaneously calculating every possible defensive and offensive scenario across multiple potential timelines. Each Krillian fighter's potential movement was already countered before the pilot could even form the thought of an attack. The first indication of the Defiance's capabilities came not with weapons fire, but with complete technological neutralization. Interceptor after interceptor simply stopped. Not destroyed. Not damaged. Simply rendered completely inert. Quantum entanglement drives powered down. Communication systems went silent. Weapon systems became nothing more than inert metal and composite materials. It was a demonstration of technological superiority so complete that it bordered on the mystical. Transmission incoming, Araya reported, her voice carrying a hint of what could only be described as anticipation. The communication wasn't a traditional signal. It was a quantum-encoded message that would simultaneously be received by every communication array in the sector. A message that would shake the foundations of galactic civilization. I am Marcus Alexander, the message began, of the human species. And with those words, everything changed. The Krillian Empire held its collective breath. Humanity had returned. The Krillian High Command convened in an emergency session. Their massive biological-mechanical conference chamber a cacophony of tension and disbelief. Holographic displays flickered with the frozen images of disabled interceptors, each a testament to a technological demonstration that defied comprehension. Admiral Krelax, the most decorated military strategist in Krillian history, stared at the data with 6 of his 8 eyes. The remaining 2 were closed in deep contemplation. 37 advanced fighters, each worth more than entire planetary economies, had been neutralized without a single weapon being fired. No energy discharge. No structural damage. Simply stopped. Explain, he demanded, his translator implant crackling with barely contained fury. The lead technical analyst, a young Krillian named Vorna, stammered through the report. It's unprecedented. The human vessel didn't just disable our systems, it invaded them. Our quantum encryption, our adaptive shielding, our most advanced defensive protocols. They were bypassed as if they were primitive child's toys. The most disturbing part was the precision. Each interceptor had been neutralized with surgical accuracy. Power systems completely shut down. Communication arrays rendered silent. Weapon systems transformed into inert technology. It wasn't destruction. It was complete technological domination. Araya's systems were working on multiple levels simultaneously. While the Krillian command struggled to comprehend the demonstration, the ship's AI was already analyzing their reaction, processing billions of potential scenarios, understanding the psychological impact of their technological display. Marcus watched the unfolding scenario with calculated calm. This wasn't about destruction. This was a message, a clear, unequivocal statement of technological superiority. Psychological impact projection. AI reported through Marcus's neural interface. Current probability of aggressive response, 12.3%. Likelihood of diplomatic engagement, 87.6%. On the external communication channels, Marcus remained silent. The demonstration was speaking louder than any words could. Deep within the defiance, quantum processors were doing more than just analyzing the current situation. They were simultaneously running millions of potential future scenarios, understanding the geopolitical implications of this single moment. Humanity's return wasn't just a military event. It was a fundamental reshaping of galactic power dynamics. In the research station, Dr. Zarak was experiencing a moment of pure scientific ecstasy. Every fragment of research, every dismissed theory, every late night studying impossible data, it was all culminating in this moment. The technology before her eyes was beyond anything she could have imagined. The Krillian communication networks were in chaos. Preliminary reports were being suppressed, analyzed, reanalyzed. But information has a way of spreading, and rumors of the impossible human vessel were already beginning to circulate. "We need more data," Admiral Krelax finally spoke, his voice a low rumble that vibrated the conference chamber. "Send a diplomatic vessel. Unarmed. Approach with full transparency protocols." It was a calculated risk, but what choice did they have? Araya's systems were already preparing. The diplomatic approach would be another opportunity to demonstrate humanity's capabilities, not through aggression, but through an almost casual display of technological mastery. Marcus allowed himself the smallest hint of a smile. The first move had been made, and the galaxy would never be the same. "Prepare diplomatic protocols," he commanded softly. The Defiance hummed with anticipation, a sleeping titan that had just opened its eyes. The communication burst came without warning, simultaneously penetrating every known communication channel across the galactic network. It was a quantum-encrypted transmission that bypassed standard filtering systems, overwhelming even the most advanced communication barriers as if they were tissue paper. Billions of beings across hundreds of star systems stopped whatever they were doing. The message was simple, direct, impossible to ignore. "I am Marcus Alexander. Of the human species, we were not destroyed. We were waiting." In the Krillian High Command Chamber, Admiral Krelax felt his exoskeleton shift involuntarily. The translation was perfect, each word carrying a weight that transcended language. It wasn't just a message. It was a declaration. Communication centers across the Galactic Confederation went into immediate lockdown. Quantum communication arrays began analyzing the transmission, trying to understand its origin, its method of transmission. But ARIA had already ensured that the message would remain an enigma, a technological ghost that defied standard analysis. On 1,000 different worlds, the reaction was instantaneous and varied. Some saw it as a threat, others as an impossible dream. The older species, those who remembered the humans from before their supposed extinction, felt a chill of recognition. Those who had only heard stories felt a mixture of terror and fascination. Dr. Zarak's research station became ground zero for analysis. Her team worked frantically, trying to break down the transmission's components. But each layer they peeled back revealed more complexity, more impossibility. "This isn't just a message," she muttered to her lead assistant. "This is a challenge." The diplomatic corps of multiple star systems began emergency sessions. The humans, a species believed extinct for centuries, had just announced their return, not as survivors, not as refugees, but as something else entirely. ARIA was simultaneously monitoring thousands of communication channels, analyzing responses, calculating potential scenarios. To call it monitoring would be an understatement. It was a comprehensive, multi-dimensional assessment of galactic reaction. Marcus watched the unfolding chaos with calculated calm. The transmission contained more than just words. Embedded within its quantum structure were fragments of data, technological signatures that hinted at capabilities far beyond current understanding. It was a message and a warning, a demonstration that humanity's technological prowess had not just survived, it had evolved. On the Defiance's bridge, holographic displays showed real-time reactions from different species and political entities: fear, confusion, excitement, anger. The entire spectrum of emotional response was laid out like a complex mathematical equation. Diplomatic response probability analysis. HFY reported through Marcus's neural interface. Aggressive response, 22.6%. Diplomatic engagement, 67.4%. Complete denial, 10%. The numbers were just another tool. Another way of understanding the complex chess game that was about to unfold. Marcus knew this was more than a return. This was a fundamental reshaping of galactic power dynamics. Humanity wasn't asking for permission. They were announcing their presence, their power, their intent. "Prepare secondary transmission protocols," he commanded softly. The message had been sent. Now came the real challenge. The galaxy held its collective breath. The diplomatic summit was held in the neutral zone, a massive space station constructed at the intersection of three major galactic powers. Representatives from dozens of species gathered, their anticipation a palpable energy that crackled through the conference chamber. Dr. Zarok stood at the center of the preparations, her research now the most critical document in galactic history. Decades of dismissed theories were about to become the foundation of a new understanding. Marcus Alexander arrived without fanfare, no dramatic entrance, no show of force. He simply appeared, as if materializing from the very fabric of space itself. His appearance was both familiar and alien, human, yet enhanced beyond recognition. Adaptive nanofabric clothing that seemed to shift and breathe with his movements. Eyes that reflected intelligence far beyond organic limitations. Humanity's extinction was never real. He began, his voice carrying through the chamber without need for amplification. It was a strategic withdrawal. The revelation hit like a quantum shockwave. HFY projected holographic data streams that danced around Marcus. Fragmentary evidence of humanity's survival. Star systems that had been thought sterilized now showed traces of hidden populations, quantum-locked dimensional pockets, entire colonies preserved in states of suspended technological existence. Admiral Krelax leaned forward, his multiple eyes focusing with an intensity that bordered on physical pressure. The evidence was irrefutable. Humanity hadn't been destroyed. They had been waiting. When the first waves of the genocide began, Marcus continued, humanity made a collective decision. Not to fight, not to surrender, but to preserve. The holographic displays showed glimpses of the final war. Not scenes of defeat, but of calculated retreat. Entire populations moving into quantum-locked dimensions. Technology so advanced it could hide entire civilizations between the fundamental layers of reality. Dr. Zarok's research became the bridge of understanding. Her decades of collecting fragments now made perfect sense. The unexplained quantum fluctuations, the impossible sensor readings, the technological anomalies that had been dismissed as errors. They were breadcrumbs, intentional hints left by a species that knew it would one day return. "We didn't just survive," Marcus explained. "We evolved. Our technology, our understanding of reality itself. While the galaxy believed us extinct, we were preparing." HFY began displaying technological developments that defied current scientific understanding. Dimensional manipulation, energy generation that could power entire star systems, biological and technological integration that made current cybernetic enhancements look like primitive toys. The representatives from various species struggled to comprehend. Some looked terrified. Others looked in awe. A few looked like they were witnessing the fundamental restructuring of their understanding of reality. Marcus wasn't just presenting history. He was offering a challenge, a glimpse of what humanity had become during their extinction. "We are not here for revenge," he said, his words cutting through the tension. We are here to offer a choice: collaboration or irrelevance. The diplomatic chamber went silent. The message was clear. Humanity hadn't just survived. They had transformed into something beyond current comprehension. Dr. Zarak caught Marcus's eye. For a brief moment, a lifetime of research was validated in a single glance. The universe would never be the same. Humanity had returned, and they were done hiding. The technologies Marcus revealed were nothing short of miraculous. Planetary restructuring became a demonstration that was both terrifying and beautiful. With a simple neural command, AI projected a holographic simulation of technological capabilities that made current galactic powers look like children playing with primitive tools. A barren moon transformed before their eyes. Quantum manipulation fields shifted geological structures. Entire mountain ranges rose and fell like liquid. Atmospheric generation systems created breathable environments in seconds. Mineral reconstitution technologies turned lifeless rock into vibrant, habitable landscapes. "This is not a threat," Marcus explained, his voice carrying the calm of absolute certainty. "This is potential." The technological showcase went far beyond planetary engineering. Energy manipulation reached levels that challenged fundamental understanding of physics. Marcus demonstrated zero-point energy extraction that could power entire star systems with less than a cubic centimeter of matter. Quantum communication systems that could transmit information across galactic distances instantaneously. Dr. Zarak watched in academic ecstasy. Every fragment of research, every dismissed theory was now validated in the most spectacular manner possible. But the most terrifying demonstration was yet to come. Space-time control was not just a theoretical concept for humanity. It was a tool. Marcus showed how humanity could create localized time dilation fields, effectively manipulating the very fabric of reality. Entire star systems could be preserved or accelerated. Civilizations could be studied without interference. Threats could be neutralized before they even formed. The representatives from various galactic powers sat in stunned silence. Admiral Krelax felt something he hadn't experienced in centuries: pure, unadulterated fear. HFY's systems were simultaneously analyzing every reaction, every micro-expression, every subtle shift in the diplomatic chamber. The psychological impact was as precisely calculated as the technological demonstration. "We are not conquerors," Marcus continued. "We are potential partners. But make no mistake, we are also prepared to defend ourselves." The underlying message was clear. Humanity could reshape reality itself. Planetary destruction was almost quaint compared to their capabilities. They could remove entire civilizations from existence with less effort than most species would use to swat an insect. Quantum adaptive technologies demonstrated the true depth of human innovation. Weapons systems that could predict and neutralize threats before they were even conceived. Defensive capabilities that made current shield technologies look like tissue paper. But it wasn't just about destruction. The medical technologies were equally revolutionary: cellular regeneration, genetic restructuring, disease elimination, technological augmentations that could transform biological limitations into mere suggestions. Marcus wasn't just showing power. He was offering a glimpse of potential. "We spent centuries preparing," he explained, "not just for survival, but for collaboration, for advancement, for the next stage of galactic evolution." The diplomatic chamber felt the weight of those words. This wasn't a species returning for revenge. This was a species offering a fundamental reshaping of galactic potential. Dr. Zarak caught a subtle signal from Marcus, a neural command so fast it was almost imperceptible. AI began projecting additional data, glimpses of human colonies preserved in quantum-locked dimensions, entire populations, cultures, technological archives. Humanity hadn't just survived. They had evolved, and they were offering the galaxy a choice: collaborate or be left behind. The reckoning had begun. The final moments of the diplomatic summit would be recorded in galactic history as the moment everything changed. Marcus Alexander stood not as a conqueror, but as a bridge between what was and what could be. Collaboration is our proposal, he stated, his voice carrying the weight of centuries of preparation, not submission, not conquest, but a genuine partnership that elevates all of us. RIA began projecting comprehensive plans that went beyond mere technological exchange. These were blueprints for galactic reconstruction, ecological restoration technologies that could heal worlds devastated by centuries of conflict, medical advances that could eliminate genetic diseases across entire species, energy solutions that could end resource conflicts forever. Dr. Zarak watched in awe as the true depth of humanity's preparation became clear. This wasn't just a return. It was a rebirth for the entire galactic civilization. The most shocking revelation came in the final moments. Marcus introduced the concept of the preservation protocols, the true story of humanity's survival. During the initial genocide, they hadn't just hidden. They had created quantum-locked dimensional pockets where entire populations, cultures, and technological archives had been preserved. We are not the last humans, Marcus revealed. We are the first wave. The implications were staggering. Entire human populations existed in preserved states, waiting to be reintegrated. Generations of human knowledge, culture, and potential, kept safe beyond the reach of those who sought to destroy them. Admiral Krelax felt the fundamental shift in galactic power dynamics. Humanity wasn't asking for acceptance. They were offering a complete reimagining of civilization itself. The technological exchange proposals were unprecedented. Not just shared knowledge, but a complete restructuring of how different species could interact, develop, and grow. Quantum communication networks that could unite civilizations instantaneously. Medical technologies that could extend life and eliminate genetic limitations. Educational systems that could accelerate learning beyond current comprehension. HFY simultaneously analyzed every potential outcome, every possible diplomatic scenario. The probability of conflict had reduced to less than 3%. The potential for collaborative advancement was astronomical. We are offering a choice, Marcus explained, not just to survive, but to thrive. The representatives from various galactic powers understood the unspoken message. Humanity could have destroyed everything. Instead, they were offering a hand of partnership. Dr. Zarak's lifetime of research had led to this moment. She was the bridge between humanity's past and its potential future. Her work had kept the possibility of human survival alive when everyone else had given up. The quantum-locked dimensional archives began to hint at their contents, glimpses of preserved human cultures. Technological archives that suggested humanity's evolution hadn't stopped during their extinction. Multiple human populations, each potentially developing in different directions, now ready to reunite. We are not returning to reclaim, Marcus said. We are returning to rebuild. The galactic communication networks erupted. News of humanity's return spread faster than light itself. A species thought extinct was not just alive. They were offering a future beyond anything anyone had imagined. HFY's final projection showed something both terrifying and beautiful. A potential future where galactic civilizations could truly unite. Where the limitations of biology, technology, and understanding could be transcended. Humanity had returned, and nothing would ever be the same again. The last human was no longer a legend. He was a promise.